Thank you for tuning in to the TranscendwithM Podcast. This episode is brought to you by our sponsors, BRC Insurance, the #1 insurance broker serving the Latino community in the Americas, and Salvador Virtual Assistants, serving business owners and insurance brokers across America. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Transcend with M. I am your host, Monica Dwani, and I am extremely excited to welcome Katherine Aguilar today, who is going to be telling us her story. She owns a very successful candle business, but not only that, her mission and her passion is about sustainability. Welcome, Katherine. How are you today?
Hi, Monica. Thank you for having me. I'm doing well. It's nice springy day today, so it's been really nice.
Yes, we're getting there. We can taste the summer coming, so that is a good thing. So Catherine, I had an opportunity to interview you for the radio show not too long ago, and we were like, we got to get her into the podcast and share her story because I thought it was so cool that you were able to integrate your passion with what you know you like, and also creating a business that can sustain your family, can sustain you, and make you happy, and make you all the things that you want to do. So I have one question alone, is that what is Catherine's story? How did she end up here? Why, was she driven to do all the things that she do today? So indulge us with your story because I think it's pretty amazing and I think people need to hear it.
Yeah, of course. So my life story, it started when I was a baby. So I was born in El Salvador to very young parents. My mom was 16 when she had me, and my dad was 19. And very shortly after she had me, we immigrated here to the United States. So I came to the United States when I was about 9 months old. Let me see if I can mute my notifications on my thing, because or else it'll just, I get way too many notifications. Uh, but yeah, so I was born in El Salvador, came here when I was super young, just me and my mom. We lived in California for a little bit with my grandmother, and then we moved over to Worcester. So I've been in Worcester since I was about 1 years old. I left a little bit for college at some points, but I've always come back. So
Wow,
and
that's
then from there,
amazing.
um, went to all Worcester public schools. My college journey was very interesting. I went to it's 4 different colleges. Took me 5 years. I have my associates and I have my bachelor's degree from Worcester State. Shout out to Worcester State. Love Worcester State.
Yeah.
And in 2019, I started my business. I actually started it because I had gotten fired. I was a corporate recruiter. And I had gotten fired because I just wasn't happy there. And I started my business with a $300 investment an ex-boyfriend had given me, and just kept going from there. We started completely online in 2019. It was August of 2019 when we started, and slowly but surely I like went through doing pop-up markets, a lot of online stuff, and then I think it was December of that year, I was like, you know what, maybe I could really make this, work out for me. I was still always looking for a full-time position. It was kind of like just my side thing while I was looking for something else. And for almost an entire year, I had interviewed, I had applied, done all the things for jobs, and just nothing was lining up. Um, which for me was really, really rare and really hard to like process.
Yeah.
Excuse me. So then I ended up just taking it as a sign from God. I was like, you know what? Not meant to work for anyone anymore. And then the opportunity to open up a shop in the Worcester Public Market happened in
Yeah.
January of 2020. So I actually had signed my lease in February. I opened up my store March 14th, 2020. And then on March
No way.
17th, 2020, COVID hit us all, and we were on lockdown for a few months.
Mm-hmm.
So that has really, it's been interesting because my life and my business has all been been about pivoting. It's all
Mhm.
right. This didn't really go the way I wanted it to do. Let's figure out what we can do. Let's create new systems. Let's, we went back to online after we had the store
Yeah.
for a couple of days. Then, once things got better, we were able to open the store again. So then we were online and in the store. Um, so I did that for almost 3 years, and I just closed up my shop in January. I closed up my shop in the Worcester Public Market, and I'm actually working out of my home studio now, which is why I kind of blurred my background. It's kind of a
Yeah.
mess. Uh,
It's
but
not a
I
mess.
work
It's a
from
work in
home now,
progress.
and I'm able to take my shop completely online. And I also do a lot of pop up markets here in Worcester. So I organize um, different reoccurring markets. There's one that I'm really excited about happening next
Yeah.
Saturday. We're calling it our mercado, our supermercado. Um, so through my business, through my journey,
Yeah.
I've been hyper focused on sustainability, um, but doing it in a very educational and slow way. For me, when it comes to sustainability, a lot of these warriors is what they're called. A
Mhm.
lot of these people come from a place of privilege. So they're
Mm.
telling people, okay, you need to stop buying paper towels and you got to switch to these Swedish rags that are going to soak up paper towels, or you need to switch to bamboo toilet paper and no more straws, only metal straws, So there are certain things that in my shop I carry. For example, the metal straws, we carried those at the very beginning. We suggest like small sustainable changes, things that
Yeah.
won't go completely out of your
Anyone
budget.
can do.
um,
Anyone
Things that
can
are
do.
like, use what you have at home already before you go buy
Yeah.
something new.
Mhm.
Repurposing things, even on our logo, I could kind of show you a little bit. It's the recycle sign when you see it,
Yeah.
but it's reduce, repurpose, and reuse. Recycling is
Yeah.
kind of a myth. It doesn't really help the planet. Oh, I think I might have froze. Did I freeze on you?
Just a little bit. It's okay.
Hello? Oh,
There
am
you
I
go.
still there?
You're good.
Oh, I couldn't hear you this whole time because I muted the thing. Oh my god, that's so funny. I'm
Can
just
you hear
laughing.
me?
I couldn't even hear if you were. That's so funny.
It's totally okay. No, I'm saying you're good. You're good. And I think it's about the small changes, right? Like what anyone can do and can afford, right? Is that I think that's really good because overall, not everybody can be buying like bamboo spoons or bamboo like like or what is the other thing right now? These plates that come, they're like they look like bamboo, but they're not bamboo. You can
Are you
rewash
talking like
them.
aluminum
Uh,
plates? Because I've seen aluminum
I
like
saw
cups
them.
and plates. They're almost like solo
I saw.
style.
Yeah, I saw them. Where did I saw them? I went to eat somewhere with a friend of mine, and they are like a vegan vegetarian place, and they had all these things, um, and they look like bamboo because it was like
Oh,
brown with like. But they said, put them here because we reuse them, we rewash them and reuse them, and I was like, is that sanitary? Because me ignorant, I was like, is that sanitary? And then they show me like the whole little spiel about why these are being used right now, and I was like, interesting. Like, I
yeah.
will go ceramic all day.
So I love ceramic. I love glass.
Yeah.
I like
Yeah.
that a lot of things are being made with like aluminum. Um,
Yeah.
I just came back from LA in January, and in the airport, they had plastic water bottles and they had aluminum water bottles too.
Hmm.
So I went for the aluminum one right away, and I was like, "Oh, this is awesome!" And I was
Yeah.
actually able to keep it and reuse it a couple times, which was really great. So I like that. Like there are these options happening. I actually was inspired to have my business be focused on sustainability. And
Yeah.
over the years, I have become, my friends kind of call me earthy crunchy. I'm kind of like the hippie of the crew. They know, like, if Kat's with us, like, make sure you're recycling because she's gonna clock you. Make sure you're
That's
not
so funny.
plastic if there's another option. But it's developed over time. You know what I mean? Like, it's funny because it's like a core memory for me. The St. Patrick's Day parade is coming up here in Worcester, and the year before I had started my business and I had read the book that inspired it all, I actually littered. And somebody yelled at me, and I was like, "It's fine, like no big deal, right?" Look at me admitting this right now. Oh my god. But like now it's like such a core memory because when I see people litter, I will yell at them, or I will just pick up their trash and like take it with me. So it really just goes to show you when you are ignorant, when you don't care, when you're just kind of living day to day, you're not worried about the planet. You're pretty much in survival mode. So every day you're kind of waking up and it's like, okay, I need to get XYZ done because I need to do this, that. So you're not really like paying attention to the bigger picture of it all. So over the past few years, I've done a lot of learning, and through my business, through my blogs, through my website, my social media, and even events and speaking engagements like this, I'm able to kind of slowly tell people recommendations that they can do. I know
Mhm.
during that interview we had a little while ago, we had talked about how Latinos, especially, us immigrants, we are kind of the kings and queens of sustainability. Like our grandmothers are kind of in that. Sometimes it happens because of scarcity, but they're in that scarcity mindset where I need to reuse this as many times as possible before I throw this away. Um, and a lot of people, as they get older, they get a little bit more money. They're kind of like, I
Yeah.
don't want to live like that, like I don't want to like reuse stuff, like just throw it away. I could buy a new one. So it's kind of like figuring out a healthy balance of all the things.
Yeah. No, and it's like you said, small step. We don't have to turn 180, right? We just have to make sure that we are conscious. We're conscious about the choices that we are making to better our surroundings, right? Like the amount of landfill that we produce is way too high.
Yeah.
Like right now we have islands of trash, right? Because we cannot put it anywhere anymore on our land. So we have freaking islands with
Hmm.
trash, which is crazy, which is crazy to my mind. So I have a couple questions based on your story.
Yeah.
Going back to when you left corporate. What were the lessons learned there? Why do you think it wasn't a good environment? And how have you used that experience to better, your company and how you deal with people within your company now?
Yeah. So for me, it's really interesting. Because I actually haven't talked about this in a while. But when it came to my corporate job, my last job, when I was hired by a manager who had been there, and I think she's still there, has been there over 30 years with the company. She has managed star recruiters, she has managed great teams. She was such an amazing manager that I literally left that interview, Monica, and I was like, can I give you a
Yeah.
hug? I want to hug you. Like she was amazing. And then a couple months into my job, I want to say like 8, maybe 9 months into it, they actually promoted my coworker. So someone who was sitting
Yeah.
next to me, same type of position, because she had been there a couple years, they promoted her and she was now my manager and two other people.
Mm,
So this person had never managed people a day in her life. And I
yeah.
think her first inclination was to micromanage. And
Mm,
I can't be micromanaged. I'm a set leader. You know what I mean? My family, we're very powerful women. We say it to each other. We're natural. We're all natural born leaders in my family. Um,
mm-hmm.
so for me, just micromanaging did not work out. So at that point, I was like, let me just. Oh my goodness, I'm so sorry. I don't know
It's
how
okay.
to turn it off. So I'm over here, right? Like I had a great boss, and then all of a sudden I have this woman who's like literally watching every move. She even one time, and this was really the last straw for me. she questioned why I was talking to my clients or my workers in Spanish. And it was because she couldn't
Mhm.
understand, you know. So that for
Yeah.
me really left an impact on the type of boss and the type of company I don't want to have. Because their culture was work hard, play hard, where Friday evenings or Friday around 4, there's beer in the office. Um, and like as a young person fresh out of college, you're like, oh yeah, that's definitely the type of vibe I want to be in. But
Mhm.
when you like grow and realize it's actually pretty toxic, you
Yeah.
know, a lot of and I've had these conversations with other people, like even sometimes professional like networking events where they're really pushing drinks on people and stuff and getting people to the point where they're not even professional anymore. You're kind of a mess.
Mhm.
Um, so those types of things that, you know, left a sour taste in my mouth, helped me to then see, all right, as a leader, you know, I've had a couple of employees now, in the past, and I have a few right now. Um, I want to be a leader that inspires them through my actions. I want to be a leader
Mm.
that serves. I want to be a leader that helps teach you. Um, so
Mhm.
that definitely helped me so much. And then
Yeah.
thankfully I had a lot of other jobs in a uh diverse industries. Like I've worked in mortgage processing. I've worked
Yeah.
securities training. I've done so many random things. Um
Mhm.
that they've all helped me, you know, like I've done some customer service jobs, I've done admin work. So all
Yeah.
of those things in the past helped me with my business. I'm much more organized. I have systems. I know, you know, legally how to deal with an employee based on Massachusetts employment laws.
Yeah.
Um, so all of my past roles have definitely helped me in my company. And you know, it's, I always say it's God's plan. I was able to do all of these things at a really young age through undergrad,
Mhm.
you know, work for a couple of years after undergrad, see what it's like in a company that like gives you training, that gives you orientation, that has standard operating procedures. So you're
Yeah.
really able to, okay, now I want to create this, I want this to grow. But you really, as you know, you have to create strong foundations in order to successfully expand.
Yeah. No, I hear you. I think, all of our experiences makes us more powerful, right? So it is really important that just as you learn your lessons, that we also teach others how to what not to do, right? Like what not to do, what we don't want to experience. Well, we don't need this specific experience, right? So, I think that's awesome that you've been able to build something around you that completely cancels everything that you weren't happy with and that didn't serve you as an individual. That way you can help people grow in a more inclusive and a more I will say sustainable environment, right? Because it's very, you see how I did what I did there, sustainability.
It's a part of the
I
brand.
love it. I love it. I love it. So that's awesome. Now, when you so you started your business, you were um, having a good flow online, and you mentioned about pivoting, right? And I think any new business owner can actually relate to that because if you don't pivot then you don't grow, right? But your pivoting was kind of like a forced pivoting
Mhm.
because of the situation that was happening. So tell me what was the experience of like opening the store, um then having to shut down and of course reopening again, because I went to your store a couple times and it was cool. I like the market, it's a cool place. But what made you understand that you could be more successful with this specific online presence? Because a lot of people think that a business has to exist, physically somewhere, and it's not like that.
Yeah.
So tell me about that experience.
Yeah. So I think for me it's very interesting. The pandemic, and I've had this conversation with other business owners, the pandemic revealed a lot of problems in our economy, but it also brought in a lot of
Mhm.
fast-paced solutions, especially for businesses. So for example, how much all of us
Yeah.
use DoorDash, Uber Eats, all of those great things, all of that really stemmed from the pandemic and businesses not being able to
Yeah.
go serve and do all the things, right? So for me, um, sorry, my dog distracted me. So for me, um, it's interesting. I'm sorry. Can you rephrase the question again?
You're too funny. I just wanted to know, how was the experience of understanding and coming to the conclusion that your business was better to online than in person? Like how, because of all the pivoting that you had to do, how did you realize that, what? I am more successful doing it this way. I'm just going to do it my way, and that's it. So tell me about the experience of coming to that realization.
Yes, so sorry. I don't know where my mind was going. But for me
That's
it really
okay.
comes into like people's shopping. So for retail products, especially even like big corporations, they're having a hard time getting people into the stores and spending money. A lot of
Yeah.
people, because of the pandemic, because of online ordering, because of home deliveries and stuff like that, we are kind of almost like, well, let me see if I could get it faster online, or let me see if, well, they only have it in blue in the store. Let me see if I could find it in pink elsewhere. And then with social media kind of being the only way people are connecting, it really, really
Yeah.
expanded e-commerce. So for me, the store was great. It was nice having my store. I was actually in two different places in the market. So it was interesting to see like where you're located in the space. Um, but for me, that physical location just didn't work out. And, unfortunately, as we've seen it, a lot of retailers are moving out of the market because unfortunately the market isn't the best place for retailers, for
Mhm.
wares, for home goods. It's a really great
Yeah.
place to sit down and get a bite to eat or grab food and go home. It's really, really great for food vendors, but for retailers, it just wasn't the right space. And I've had this conversation with a couple retailers in different cities too. So it's happening in Boston as well, happening down at the Cape, happening in Los Angeles too. Lots of storefronts have closed down because people just aren't necessarily wanting to stop and spend 20 minutes browsing through your store when they're looking for a specific thing in a specific color, specific scent, whatever it may be.
Mhm.
So it's just
Mhm.
easier to Google it and send it and get it delivered in a few days. That's just kind of the way people are
Yeah.
shopping for things right now.
Yeah.
Clothing and food, different. Those are things you kind of want to touch and try. But even so much, not even clothing either. A lot of people are kind of just, doing the fast
Mhm.
fashion stuff. So but that's a whole other
I
conversation.
cannot tell you when was the last time I went to the mall.
Yeah, like if you go into even Natick Mall, I went to Natick Mall about a month ago, and
Mhm.
they have a lot of really big retailers that have closed up shop. And I
Yeah.
think they specifically are doing a pretty good job at giving those spaces to small businesses, which I
Mhm.
thought was really interesting and unique. But I almost wanted to go in there and ask the business owners, like, hey, like, are you getting like a deal on your rent? 'Cause,
Probably
places
not.
probably not,
Probably
right?
not.
Because places
Mm.
like Blackstone Valley, for example, in the middle of the pandemic, they had reached out to me and asked me to open up a store there, but they were asking
Mhm.
for, like, $1,000,000 a year in rent. I was
I
just
know.
like, "No, I'm sorry. I'm not Yankee Candle. I'm not giving
Well,
that."
even if you go to, like, and those that are listening that are not from the Massachusetts area, we're sorry, but like we have a lot of malls around us that are like 50% empty. I
Mhm,
will say, because you go to Salmon Pole Mall, is the same shit. Like it's closed. Like a lot of the stores are big retail stores are closed. You go
mhm,
to Aber Mall, that's like a freaking ghost town over there. Like doesn't nothing exists.
right.
Greenville Mall, which was the staple here, it's now Amazon.
Right. And to go
So,
Amazon, for example, Amazon's one of the most successful companies in the entire world. And they
yeah,
actually did a retail shop. I don't know if you heard about it at Blackstone, one of like an outdoor strip malls
you
here.
can pick up the stuff there. Yeah.
Well, no, they had like a store where you could shop, but it
Yeah.
only
They
lasted
also
3 months. They closed too.
have it in Natick Mall.
But the one in Blackstone closed after 3 months because there weren't enough people shopping in person. People just would rather
Yeah.
shop online. So for
Mhm.
me, it was just so much easier to leave that space. Thankfully, I had done my complete lease, so I left on good terms. I'm still good friends
Yeah.
with everyone at the market. Um, but it just wasn't the right place for retail. And
Yeah.
unfortunately, retail overall as an industry is really changing. And if you're not on social media pushing yourself, pushing your product, pushing your brand, you're kind of dying a slow death. And
Yeah.
thankfully, I'm young, I have the energy, and we keep pushing.
Right, right, right. That's awesome. That's awesome. And you can reach a broader audience, right? Because you're not stapled into a certain community or certain street or certain zip code, depending on walking traffic. You can say, you are in Massachusetts and you can send candles to California, and that's totally fine. Like it's
Right.
awesome that the world is your oyster. Is that what they say, right? The world
Yes,
is your
yes, yes.
oyster or
And
something
it's
like
nice
that.
because
I'm
even through
so
our
bad at those things.
no, you're good. But even through our website, we have clients in Texas, we have clients in Maryland, we have clients in California. I've even shipped out candles to Poland. So it's
Awesome.
yeah, so it's like really I've had candles in Hawaii, like it's really unlimited through the internet, which is
Yeah.
really, really nice. And like you said, we're able to teach and reach a wider audience. Um, and it's nice because I get to spend time at home. I'm with my dogs a lot more. Um,
Yeah.
and I'm able to immerse myself more in the community, which really, really makes me happy.
Mhm.
Because
Yeah.
that's been a key pillar for my business has been community with a K. We'll add that.
Yeah.
We're all about the K here. So we're community with a K, and we're able to do our pop-up markets. We're able to do candle workshops, both public and
Mhm.
private for people here in the area. So even though we don't have a physical store anymore, there are plenty of opportunities for people to meet me in real life, to smell my candles in real life,
Yeah.
before they buy.
Mhm. Yeah. That's awesome. I need to get one. Need
Yeah,
to get one.
I'll send you one.
But
Send me your
I'll pick up because I'm more of like I need to talk to someone type of person. I love it. I love it. So for those girls, for those women out there that are like having an idea and they don't know if it's gonna work or not, right? What will you say to them today? What is a piece of advice that you have for them that it will be like, go get it, girl?
honestly, my advice is, and I'm going to use my business education hat because I'm very thankful I studied business in college. You want a successful business finds a problem and creates a solution to the problem. So that could change over time. And our solutions and our problems have changed over time, a few times. But that is my best advice in business. You have to
Yeah.
find a problem, whether it's a problem you're facing every single day, or young girls are facing, or Latinas are
Hmm.
facing, or this city of Worcester, for example, is facing. Um, how can you solve that problem? Is it through
Hmm.
a service? Is it through an actual product?
Yeah.
For me, I'm so lucky into the fact that my product, and I'm like, I'm just gonna grab it because it's right next to me. My product is just bottles, that I've cut and I've sanded, and it's kind of I feel bad because it's like blurry. But I'm able to take something somebody was about to throw away into the trash and give it a whole new life.
Yeah.
Um, and literally spark it back to life because it's a candle in the flame and everything. So for me, my advice would just be that figure out what you want your solution to be And also, some of the best advice I got was pick a niche and stick to it. So my niche, it's nice because I kind of have two. It's the sustainability. We're all about sustainability. Every single vendor we bring into our stores focus on sustainability in one way or another. And then our second niche is women empowerment, especially for women of color. We bring in other women-owned businesses, but we are kind of checking: are they a person of color? Are they queer? What are their values aligned with ours? And that's what's really made us super successful. And take your time with it too. There's no
Yeah.
rush. I'm not going to wake up tomorrow and be Bill Gates or Oprah. I would
Yeah.
love to. But when you hear these people, they tell you all the time it's a journey. And you really have to stop, which is probably my hardest thing to do for myself, is like you have to stop, take a moment, and reflect on how far you've actually made it.
Yeah. Perfect. Awesome. So this was Katherine, people. If you need an amazing candle and you are all about sustainability. Oh, and something she didn't mention is that she's super creative with the smells of her candles. Can you just so I'm
Yeah.
Puerto Rican. I'm Puerto Rican, and she has a coquito candle. So if
Yes.
you don't know what coquito is like our staple signature drink that we prepare at home with like 700 coconut flavors, like cinnamon, all these things.
A little bit of
And
nutmeg. Mm.
for you to be able to replicate that is pretty awesome. I mean, I
Thank
have to
you.
say. So, like, she's pretty creative too. So it's not just about the regular smell roses
Yeah,
candle. Like
that's true.
she's very creative. So if you want to try it, you want to reach out to her. You're even interested on learning how to make candles. I know you have a workshop coming up as
Yep.
well, and she does workshops too. So reach out to her, get in the vibe, make sure that, we all have candles in our homes. And I think, the purpose is really great. So thank you for sharing your story, Katherine, today. I really
Worries.
appreciate being here and keep being awesome. This was a great conversation. And I truly love, where you came from and how everything was formed. So keep empowering women out there and keep doing your thing. You're gonna be great.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. And honestly, maybe one last thing that I forgot to mention, maybe because it's Women's History Month, we're like extra loving on
Yes.
each other this month. But something I will remind young girls, especially, is
Mhm.
everything you experience in life,
Yeah.
even the bad, shitty parts, is a part of you, is a part of your story, it's a part of your journey, and no one can ever take that from you.
Mm,
Many times, and I've had this conversation with other business owners, people feel like, "Oh, I'm not smart enough. I'm not pretty enough. I'm not this, I'm not that." No, the way you are set, your ideas that, your creator, your God has given you, go out there because there's someone waiting for that story. Someone waiting
100%.
for that thing.
It's 100%. 100%. And if you need help, that's what we're here for.
Right.
Reach out to anyone. We're always more than happy to help because I know that there is not a lot of support out there, but there is definitely a lot of support that you probably don't know. And
Right.
that's what we're here for, to make sure that we should reach out, that we give a hand, and that we connect you with the people you need. So thank you so much for mentioning that, Katherine. I
Cool.
really appreciate it. Keep being awesome. You're great. Have an amazing
Thanks,
night.
Monica. You too. You too. Have a good one.
Take care. Bye bye.
Thank you to our guest, and we appreciate you listening and watching today. Don't forget to follow us on social media at TranscendwithM on Instagram, at Monica Dwani on Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn, and watch a repeat of this episode in our YouTube channel. Remember, keep resilient, keep growing, and keep being empowered. We will see you next week.